Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to this next video lesson. We're going to be talking about math functions. And so the idea is to create a sphere calculator, say for example. So let me go ahead and click New Project. And of course we're working with Visual C#. I'm going to select the Windows Forms application. Let me double click over here and type in C#. Sorry, here we go. And let's call this math functions. We'll call this part 1. Press enter. Give it a couple seconds, and of course we're going to get a form. Now we're going to want to open up the toolbox. So let me open up the toolbox and I'll push the auto hide pin. Properties is already open, so we're in good shape. Let me just open up the form a little bit and then I'll close it up as I add content to it. Let's go to the common controls, and I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop a button, and I'm going to drag and drop a label and also a text box. Okay, and what I'll do with the label is I'll move it to the top over here, and let's change the font. A little bit too small for me, so let's type in 12 points. That looks good. Over here in the text property, I'm going to type in radius, and therefore I'm going to have the user insert a radius. But before I insert, or the position at least for that text box, let me go to the font property and also type in 12 points for that text box, and that looks better. And I'm going to place that into position. Notice the magenta underline and also the little blue guideline on the left hand side. And I'll open this up a little bit. Something like this is fine. Alright, now I'm going to place a button underneath that, and let me go ahead and resize that so it matches the right side edge and also the left side edge, as you can see here. And let's go ahead and move this into position. Something like that is fine. And I'm also going to have to change the font property specifically to a size of 12 points. And then I want to change the text property for this button to calculate. All right. So this thing is set to calculate. Now let's go ahead and have a label that says surface area, and then we're going to have another label that displays the results. We're going to have another label that says volume, and then where we display the results. So I think I'll just take this label right here, copy and paste it. Then you go ahead and move this into position somewhere right here. It looks fine. And let's change the text property to state surface area, colon. And I'm going to want another label over here, so I'll just simply take this guy over here, again copy and paste it. But for this label, I'm going to go ahead and have a border style of fixed single, so I'll simply double click on this guy. The auto size is currently set to true. Let me double click to make that false, and then I can move this into position. Let's say that I want this label to be the same size, or at least the same height as this text box. So always remember source destination. So here's the source. I'm going to hold down Shift. Here's the destination. And then all of a sudden these guys become alive. And I want the same height. So let's see if I can find it. Is it this guy here? Make vertical spacing? No, it's not that. How about this one over here? Align centers? Nope. We want something that says make the height the same. Make the same height. So I click on this, and as you can see, there was a little bit of an adjustment here. Now I can take this guy and look for that magenta underline like this, and that blue guideline on the left hand side. Looks good. I'll take this resizing handle, move it over here like this. Okay, I like it. Looks good. Let me double click on text and get rid of that. And so now I have my surface area label set up. Let me take these two by copying and pasting them. As you can see, I just clicked over here, holding down the mouse button, and then I'll select these two by touching them. I'm going to Control C, Control V, and then I'm going to put this into place. That looks pretty good right there. Instead of surface area, I'm going to change the text over here to volume, colon, and then I'm going to have to move that a little bit closer, something like this. Looks good. All right, I think we're all set in terms of the buttons and the labels. So let me go ahead and close the form a little bit. I want to get rid of the minimize and the maximize button, so that's maximize box, again for the form property, of course. Maximize box false, minimize box false. Instead of form 1, let's say sphere calculator. So for the text property, sphere calculator. All right, and now we can go ahead and create the various names for the various items. So let me go ahead and select this text box, and I want to double click over here where it says name, and we'll say txt radius. And this is going to be the BTN calculate button. So we'll say over here, btn calculate. And then I'm going to want to select the various labels, and we'll say that's LBL surface area and LBL volume. So LBL surface area, and then over here, LBL volume. Okay, let me save my work. I no longer need the toolbox. Let me just double check in the properties panel to make sure that I have a name for everything. So this is the txt radius, this is btn calculate, my eyes are over here. Surface area, LBL surface area, yep, and also LBL volume. All right, so we are all set and ready to double click on the calculate button. So I'm going to double click to go into the code area. Let me go ahead and click the save all button. And I don't need properties anymore, so let me go ahead and minimize that. I'm ready for my declarations, so let's go ahead and type in declarations. Get user input, calculation or shuns output. All right. In terms of what I need from the user, well, obviously I need the radius. And then I'm going to give back to the user the surface area and the volume. So I'm going to make that a double because it could be that the user wants to type, or wants to enter rather, a real number, a number with a decimal point. Well, that means that I'm going to have the surface area as a double, and also I'm going to be returning the volume as a double as well. Now that I've got all these declarations, let's go ahead and go to the get user input section. And I need to get the radius. That is, I need to convert the radius that's a text into a number so that I could insert it into a formula. So we'll say radius is going to be convert dot to double. There we go. And whatever's in the text box, I just simply type in txt. As you can see, the radius comes up when I hit tab. And don't forget, it's the text property, te tab. It's the text property that I want, put a semicolon at the end. Now that I have the radius, I can perform the calculation for the surface area and also for the volume. So for surface area, well, first of all, what the heck is the equation for the surface area? So let me just go back over here to, I don't even have a browser open here. I'll just go ahead and open up Safari. That's my favorite browser to use. And I'll go ahead and open up in a new tab, and we'll say surface area formula. There we go. And it looks like I've got something over here. Let's see what this is all about. Oh, that's not really what I like here. There's another website that gives me the surface area. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot to type in sphere. Sphere surface area. Okay, there we go. There we go. The area for the surface area, the formula for the surface area is 4 pi r squared. So let me switch back over here to Visual Studio. 4 pi r squared. So that's going to be 4.0 times pi. And the way that we can access pi in CSharp is you can just simply type math. And this gives you access to all kinds of math options, math tools, such as, look at these, that's arccosine, arcsine, arctangent, sine, cosine, tangent. I see logarithm, natural logarithm. And one of the tools is pi, which, of course, as you can see here, is 3.14159, blah, 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 blah. So this is the value for pi. We're going to multiply that times r squared. Well, one of the math tools that's available is the pow function. And as you can see over here, it returns a specified number raised to the specified power. So that first number there represents the base. This second number represents the exponent. So let me go ahead and hit tab and open parentheses. Now what is it that needs to be raised to the second power? It's the radius, r squared. So I'll type in radius, comma, and then to what power? I'll put 2.0 because as you can see here, it's expecting a double. So I'm going to go ahead and place that 0 right there. And then semicolon. So this is 4 pi r squared. And the math.pow function is how we are going to deal with exponents. Math.pi, obviously, to handle the 3.14159, so forth and so on. All right, how about for volume? So let me go back to my website over here and let me go ahead and check out what the formula is for volume. It looks like it's 4 over 3 pi r cubed. Okay, so let me go back over here to Visual Studio. the volume is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this within parens. And is it necessary that I put it within parens? No, it's just readable. For me, I know that there's different parts of the volume. Whoops, sorry, I didn't spell that correctly. There's different parts of the volume. Didn't spell that correctly. The 4 divided by 3 is one part, times pi, so that's going to be math.pi. So I'll put that guy right there. There we go. Times, and then it's going to be r cubed. So that's going to be math.pow, and r is radius, comma, and then it's cubed. Okay. So I just like doing things like this to make the program more readable and therefore more accessible to another programmer or to myself in the future. Well, now that I have the surface area and the volume, I'm going to place those values into these labels. So the way that I'm going to do that is to say LBL, and that's all I'll type. And automatically you can see I have my 2 label options. Let's deal with the surface area at first. Dot TE, again, you see that I don't have to type in text, just hit tab. And then we're going to assign that. First I'm going to need to convert to string whatever the surface area is. See, that's pretty easy. We're going to take that surface area, which is a number, specifically a double. I need to convert that to a string so that I can assign it to a text, specifically the text property for this label. Let's do the same thing for volume. So that's going to be convert dot to string, and then we'll type in volume and then a semicolon. So this is going to take this number, convert it to a string, and assign it to the text property of this label. All right, so let me go ahead and save all. Let's run the program and see what happens. So the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to have to insert a radius, and let me just try a radius of 4, say for example. Well, the radius of 4 is saying here that the surface area is going to be 201.0619 and the volume is going to be 268.0825. Well, let me see if that's in fact correct, and I'm going to go back to this website. Let me type in the number 4 here. This says that the volume is 268.08. Is that correct? Let's see here. 268.08. Yep. And how about the surface area? So let me go ahead and change this to the surface area formula. Again, I'm going to type in the number 4. That says 201.06. Okay, so 201.06. Yep, it looks like it's correct. So as you can see, this is a great tool here, the math library with all of the different tools here. What I shared with you today is how to use math.py and math.pow, but there's all kinds of other tools that are available so that you can use them to solve problems like this, and that is to create a sphere calculator. So this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. See you next time.